What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Flying solo this evening. Guys, we're going to do something a little different tonight. We're just going to go through the league and do a quick recap of Week 10 and kind of give you guys and gals an idea of which teams helped the Packers tonight and which teams maybe, I wouldn't say hurt, but didn't help the Packers' playoff chances. Listen, the Packers' playoff hopes are alive and well. There's no doubt about that. Plenty of football to be played. The division is still on the table. Going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, but we're just going to talk about some of the things that went on around the league in that regard. But before we do that, let's take a quick second and give a shout-out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since 92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description that'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. So I know we got people filing in already after watching a full day of stress-free football for us Packer fans. I know it's always nice to kind of get a weekend like that for sure. One thing I wanted to hit on right off the bat, Deadfish actually said this in the pre-show chat. He said, "Hey Clayton, I don't know if you saw this on Yahoo Sports, but the Packers have two players on their 2024 redraft. They have Evan Williams going to Atlanta at pick number 8 and Jordan Morgan going to Dallas at 29. So the fact that the Packers drafted Jordan Morgan a little bit earlier than that, not too bad. It didn't seem like too much of a reach. And that at least the folks at Yahoo Sports see our boy Jordan Morgan as a player that's still worthy of a first-round pick. That's a good sign, right? But the Evan Williams at number 8, Deadfish, that's absolutely wild, man. To think that he's a top 10 pick is just crazy. And Goody getting him in the 4th round, trading up to get him. Just a phenomenal athlete, man. It's really cool to see Goody hit on one of those players a little later, right, in the draft for sure. Let's see here. What else do we got in here in the chat? Just want to make sure we're not overlooking anything. We'll kind of turn it into a little bit of a community chat here this evening as we dive into some of the scores around the league as well and give you guys an update on all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm with you. Deadfish says, I wish Yahoo would have redone the second round. Me too, man. Me too. And again, Tim's out with the misses tonight, so that's why we're flying solo. This right here has been my number one Packer fan comment here has been my number one source of entertainment on this Sunday evening. It says Bears Twitter is down bad. LOL, man. I watched 2 different post-game shows earlier as I was getting Chalk Talk ready for tomorrow and Tuesday. We're going to do offensive plays tomorrow, and then we're going to do defensive plays on Tuesday. The top defensive plays of the first half of the season, or a little over one half of the season. But I was listening to those post-game shows. Boys, let me tell you, it was hilarious. They were just, like you said, full meltdown mode, completely like all hope is gone. It's just wild. Matter of fact, let me drop this down. I want to show you guys something real quick. Just a quick little sample of what we're talking about here. If I can find it, here we go. And let me get the screen just right on it. But this is just an example of one that came down. You got Bears fans that are tweeting stuff like this out. And this is just another Chicago Bears fan at @JShy_Bears. Really good dude. I've been on a podcast with him in another group chat. Really nice guy. You'll find that there's good fans in every fan base, right? But he said Caleb Williams is so over Shane Waldron. So that's Shane Waldron, obviously, the OC. And he says something and laughs at Caleb. And Caleb just kind of shakes his head, rolls his eyes, whatever. I did the melting emoji because just absolute cringe right there. Again, that stuff is all over Twitter right now, all over X. It's just been wild. Let's see if we got anything else here in the chat. Here we go. Harry Cheese says Caleb barely had 50% completion percentage today. That's been kind of his MO most of the year too. I'm eager to see the stats once they get updated. And again, elite arm talent. I'm kind of seeing that tongue in cheek now, to be honest with you. But our question was always, will he be able to handle the pressure of the NFL, seeing how emotional he was at the college level and how he just didn't seem like a natural born leader And you see Jaden Daniels. That's one of the things that was said on the post game shows there for all the Bears shows that I watched was Jaden Daniels succeeding, Drake May showing all kinds of flash. You guys remember first couple weeks of the season, all the Caleb Williams truthers, they were out in the droves, right? They were just everybody was just he would throw across his body an inaccurate throw for 8 yards, and they were like, "Look at this guy's arm." Crickets now, crickets for sure. Let's see here. Deadfish says, "I don't take the Bears." I think he's saying lightly. They lost bad today, but I think they were looking ahead to the game with Green Bay next week. Until today, they were 8-0 in their last 8 home games. That's a really interesting stat there for sure. And again, there's no slam dunk win. Obviously, the Packers have got the Bears next week in Chicago, but what you got to do there, man, is you got to control the football. You just can't turn the football over, right? You got to go into that game protecting the football, win the turnover differential, and let them make the mistakes, much like Detroit let us do the other night in the rain, right? So I didn't realize this. Ron Samble says in the chat, Sam Darnold is tied for the league lead in interceptions. Almost had the lead, but it got called back. LOL. I didn't realize he had thrown so many interceptions. That's very interesting there. And that game we'll get to here in a second. Matter of fact, let's just kind of dive into it. I wanted to hit on the chat. We'll get back to the chat here in a minute. Let's just get to some of these scores because, listen, the Vikings, they won their game, but it was ugly. We're just going to start at the top here, even though they're not in order. We'll give you a full rundown, all right, of the games from today. So they're not going to be like 1 o'clock games first and then 4 o'clock, games last. They'll be a little bit out of order, but that's all right. So the Eagles absolutely dog walked the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, the Cowboys are without Dak Prescott. They had Cooper Rush. And when you look at the box score here, man, Cooper Rush, 13 of 23 for 45 yards passing. Trey Lance came in 4 for 6, 21 yards, but he threw a pick. That is just wild, though. They threw the ball. Their starting quarterback threw the ball 23 times, completed 13 passes for only 45 yards. So this just goes to show you, man, every team is one injury away from being absolutely horrible. The Cowboys were already sliding backwards, obviously. But this game here, unfortunately, we wanted – looks like they're going to actually reset now here. That's interesting. All right, so maybe we'll get them in order now. Is that what's happening? Yep. All right, so the box score finally reset. We wanted the Cowboys to win that game. We knew it was going to be an uphill battle. Obviously, they lost, so that one didn't go our way there. But, again, the Eagles are got a pretty healthy lead in the NFC East, if I remember correctly. So, nothing horrible there as a Packers fan, the fact that Dallas lost to the Eagles. We were just kind of hoping the Eagles would take another L there just in case things completely flipped on into the year. Now, you got Washington at the top there of the NFC East as well. So we're just going to go back to the top and work our way down. Hopefully we don't talk about 2 games twice, or 1 game twice. So the Carolina Panthers ended up getting the win in Germany. That was actually ended up being a fun game to watch. We were talking about it was going to be a snooze fest. Man, that crowd was hot in Germany. Hearing them sing Country Roads, and they just kind of they turned the music down and let the crowd sing it. Really, really cool environment. I think that's on my bucket list to go to an NFL game in Europe. That would be absolutely awesome. But as far as the box score, what stands out to you here is Carolina gets the win, like we said, against the Giants. Bryce Young, 15 to 25, 126 yards, a touchdown, no picks. So just kind of managing the game. Chuba Hubbard absolutely went off, 28 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown. Receiver, looks like they hit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different receivers, I believe that is. Yeah, 6 different receivers that Bryce Young hit. And, as far as defense, looks like Ashawn Robinson had a sack. DJ Wannon had a sack, a couple tackles for a loss. So it looks like they got a couple sacks there on the Giants. Now, let's see how our boy Daniel Jones did. Daniel Jones has been kind of the laughing stock of the league here as far as starting quarterbacks the last couple of years. Daniel Jones, 22 of 37, 190 yards, 2 picks. He was sacked twice for 15 yards lost there. Tyrone Tracy, man, you guys know this is one of my draft crushes. This was like my sleeper in the draft that I really, really liked. Had a great day, 18 carries for 103 yards and a touchdown, but had a really, really costly fumble there at the end. You hated to see it because he played his ass off the whole day. Let's see if he had any catches. Have 1 catch, just 1 catch for 1 yard. But running the rock there, man, again, the over-under, I think, for him as far as the fantasy, pick'ems, today was like 60 yards. And if you guys remember on the morning show, I said probably want to hammer that over. I think he had gained like 80 yards in his last so many games, or every game this season, something crazy like that. So that was just easy money as long as he stayed healthy. Hated to see him have that fumble at the end. But nonetheless, the Carolina Panthers beat the New York Giants 20-7. Up next is the game that we were already kind of talking about. The Chicago Bears, man. The Chicago Bears lose to the New England Patriots 19-3 at home. They scored that field goal. They kicked that field goal in the second quarter and didn't score another point. Didn't score a point in the first quarter, didn't score after kicking that field goal in the second quarter. It's just wild. And listen, the Patriots, they should have a pretty decent defense. They have one of the best defenses last year. Of course, that's Belichick calling, running the defense, not calling the plays, but running the defense. You got now Gerard Mayo taking over there, and obviously it's not working. They're sitting at 3-7. They should have they might have played themselves out of the number one pick, to be honest with you, by winning that game. But they're trying to do anything they can to grab a little momentum this season. But let's go to the box score. Let's have some fun here. Chicago Bears. First of all, this is a great comparison here, right? Like you've got Drake May going up against Caleb Williams. My draft board, I had Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2, Jaden Daniels 3. But keep in mind, they were all in the same tier, okay? Meaning I had them all worthy of the same pick, essentially. And any of those three guys, in my opinion, was worthy of the number one pick. Now, you guys know my board is set up through data. I take people that I have a lot of respect for, websites that I really respect, and take all this information and throw it in. I think there's like 5 or 6 different components that go in to compiling the grade for me. So this isn't like, hey, I think Caleb Williams is the best, Jaden Daniels is the second best, Drake May is the third best. I try to stay away from that type of conversation. I'm not a scout. I don't have enough faith or confidence, I guess you could say, in my ability to study a player and go, hey, he's worthy of this pick. I'll let the data do that. But when people ask me, hey, man, which quarterback do you like the most? Mine was Jaden Daniels this year. To me, and I said this a couple times leading up to the draft, if I was Chicago, I would have reached out to Washington and said, hey, man, we've got people that are calling us about Caleb Williams. They want to take Caleb Williams number 1. Is he on your radar? Is that someone you want to be your quarterback, or are you dead set on Jaden? Because if you want Caleb, let's see if we can work out a deal so you could trade up one spot and secure that. That's how I would have approached it. And if they just said, yeah, man, what do you want for it? Then that would have told me they definitely have a higher grade on Caleb than Jaden Daniels. You understand what I'm saying? So I would have approached it that way. And if I'd have said, yeah, man, how about a third-round pick? And if they go, oh, no, we'll give you a 5th. Fine, let's do it. Let's meet in the middle at 4. So trade back 1 pick, pick up a 4th-round pick, let them take Caleb, and you take Jaden. Again, they all had the same grade. All 3 of those quarterbacks to me, they had the same grade. Now, Bo Nix was hands down my favorite quarterback that I was most impressed with because of an interview that Greg Cosell did with him. It was Greg Cosell and Doug Ferrara did an interview with it. And hearing him talk about breaking down tape, breaking down defenses. I mean, hearing Bo Nix say, yeah, no, we definitely had a pro-style offense. We had a pro-style read baked into our system, and it all revolves around understanding what the Sam backer's doing and what the boundary safety's doing. And when he said that, I was like, whoa, this dude, like, he gets it. And understanding pre-snap alignment, not meaning that's going to tell you what the defense is running, but it's going to narrow it down to what the defense is running. You know what I'm saying? So Bo Nix really impressed me. He's having a decent season, it seems like. But Drake May in this game, 15-25, 184 yards, a touchdown. He did throw a pick. He was sacked once. Caleb Williams, 16 of 30 for 120 yards. He was sacked 9 times for 51 yards. Now, listen, that offensive line, those players are not good at the football, okay? Just being honest. But there were several sacks in that game where Caleb held onto the ball and ran around in a circle for what seemed like 6 or 7 seconds. I'm sorry, those sacks are on Caleb. Just because the offensive line is cheeks doesn't mean that you blame a sack on the offensive line when a quarterback holds onto the ball for more than 3.5 seconds. 3.5 seconds, that ball's got to be out in the NFL. There's not a play call designed to say, we're going to have the ball in the quarterback's hands for 4 seconds. It just doesn't exist. If you're taking a shot, typically the deep shot is your number one read, working your way down or working your way to another side, depending on which safety is rotating, which safety isn't. Are they in a too high shell? All those things. What I seen with Caleb was a guy that was one read not there. Okay, let me try to scramble and create a second window rather than 1 to the 2 to the 3. Just like Shabusi. 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4, right? Some of you guys got that. He is not good at reading defenses. He's not. And he's a rookie quarterback. It's going to take time. I just worry that they're ruining him. I don't worry. I don't want to really root for anybody's demise here, but I'm definitely not worrying either. I'm just kind of sitting back enjoying the ride, to be honest with you. So looks like Chicago's done it again, folks. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They're in the process of ruining another quarterback, and they are making damn good time at it too. There's no two ways about that. So let's see what else happened in that game. Ramondre Stevenson for the Bears, 20 carries, 74 yards. Bears got a solid defense. There's no doubt about that. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries for 59 yards. So they helped DeAndre Swift pretty well in check. The Patriots did. Receiving, Keenan Allen led the way with 5 catches off 6 targets for 44 yards. DJ Moore, 3 catches for 24 yards on 6 targets. He looks frustrated. He goes from being fired up to frustrated, I don't know, a half a dozen times a game. Rome Odunze, 3 catches for 23 yards. He was targeted 6 times. And you could just kind of see, man, it's he hit what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different receivers. But man, 120 yards is just, that's abysmal for sure. On defense, let's see what they did on defense. TJ Edwards, solid linebacker, 13 tackles, 7 of them were solo. Kevin Byard, 11 tackles, 5 were solo. Elijah Hicks, 5 tackles. See where the sacks came from. Jacob Martin, number 55, he got a sack for the Bears. Looks like that was their only sack of the day. So I'm excited to see how Jeff Hafley approaches this game against Caleb Williams. You know, Tim was talking this morning. We were kind of tossing ideas around. Do you want to blitz? Do you not? Do you just try to get pressure with 4? With the way the Packers are playing, one thing I did notice about Caleb Williams, he loves to scramble up the middle. If he doesn't have that first read, he wants to, go up the middle. So to me, that would suggest why not just try to bring 4 and do what we've been doing. And I know the fans aren't happy with this because the sack numbers aren't inflated, the pressure numbers aren't off the charts. But just bring 2 or 3 and have that other one occupy 2 blockers and protect that mid-rush lane. And let's make Caleb Williams beat us from within the well. You know what I'm saying? So I think that gives you the best opportunity with Caleb Williams. That doesn't mean you don't heat him up, right? You get him in a 3rd and long, heat his ass up, man. Throw one of those fire zone blitzes. Bring 6. Throw him a little zero look and make him make a perfect throw to a Rome Odunze, a DJ Moore, or a Keenan Allen, right? It's okay to test it every now and again. But for me personally, I'd like to see them try to keep him in the pocket and make him play quarterback rather than flush him out of the pocket and not be gap disciplined with some of those rushing lanes, if that makes sense. So, yeah. All right, let's see what Ron says here. Ron Sandoval says, play Caleb Williams exactly like we played Stroud. I think that's a pretty good comparison. I do. With Caleb, it kind of felt like they were just kind of keeping him in the well, right? And what did we get? We got a bunch of sacks against Houston, didn't we? Am I thinking right? Didn't we end up hitting home? Let's see, week 7. That's the offense. I've been charting these this highlight reel that we're going to be doing for Chalk Talk. Let me just take a quick glance here. Houston. That was Xavier McKinney's safety sack, and Eric Wilson hit home with the sack, which I only think they brung 4, maybe 5 on that blitz. But you guys remember when when Xavier McKinney hit home with that sack where they brung that strong blitz, they actually only brung 4 rushers on that play. It's a perfect example. So I'm with you, Ron. Play them like we played Stroud. Plan on just bringing 4 the majority of the time, but get creative with how you do it. You know what I mean? Have some of those fire zone blitzes and try to confuse him. Because let me tell you, he is easy to confuse, at least right now early in his career, for sure. Let's see here. Oh, this is a great question. Respect Oranges. Do we face a Eberflus-less Bears? Meaning, will he get fired? Oh, man. Hearing those fans call in on that talk show just now, he's on the hot seat. There's no two ways about it. I was kind of surprised they brought him back, but at the same time, you could see their defense trending in the right direction. I think it's one of the best defenses in the league, if I remember correctly. I mean, I could probably pull it up off screen here real quick just to take a quick glance. Let's see. Let's go scoring defense, opponent points per play. Points per play, Chicago is 6th in the league right now, only giving up 0.308 points per play at the moment. Now, the big thing, much like our defense, are the takeaways, right? Let's see. Where's it at here? Takeaways. Takeaways per game. The Chicago Bears are 4th. They're tied for 4th in the league at 1.9 takeaways per game. You've seen them take the ball away again today. I think they might have forced a fumble too. They definitely baited Drake May into throwing a pick on the right side with this like Mabel zone look. And what I mean by Mabel is guarding the sideline at 3 levels. They typically call that a Mabel approach. You've seen that, and that kind of led to the interception. So they're just really good at taking the football away, no doubt. 1.9, like I said, tied for 4th. Now, Green Bay is tied for 1st with Minnesota at 2.1. And that looks like it has been updated today if I'm looking at that update notice correctly. So, again, top 10 scoring defense on the cusp of being a top 5. They're definitely top 5 in takeaways. And if you look at their rushing defense, let's go opponent yards per rush. Chicago, oh, looky here. Please tell me. Chicago's defense, look at this, guys. If I'm looking at this correctly, they're giving up 5 yards per carry in the running game on defense. That's 29th in the league. So this might be another Josh Jacobs day. What if we got Marshawn Lloyd back too? Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't even know if it's even possible for him to come back yet, because they've got to designate him. He's got to practice, all that good stuff. But nonetheless, man, Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson might be having a big day against the Chicago Bears in their rush defense for sure. So the name of the game should be protect the football, play with the lead, make Caleb Williams have to pass the football. And really, it shows that we should be trying to run the rock. Let's see what they've done on passing defense, and we'll go opponent yards per pass attempt. All right. And, yeah, they're 9th in the league, actually tied for 7th in the league at 6.2 yards allowed per passing attempt. So on the surface, it would suggest let's establish that run and establish it early, right? That's what it seems like at least. So we'll keep an eye on all that, like I said, as we move forward as well. So, all right, let's see. Let's go back to the scores here. So, again, New England Patriots beat the Chicago Bears. That game absolutely helped a little bit today, as the Chicago Bears will now fall to, I think that's their new record, 4-5. It's crazy they're 4-1 at home. Absolute cheeks on the road. So, like I think it was Ron in the chat was saying, you can't overlook them playing at home. You really can't. So, Packers got to come out and play good ball next week. That defense can kind of lull you to sleep. Next thing you know, you're losing by a field goal, and then you're throwing into the teeth of that defense. All right. Up next, Buffalo Bills. They defeat the Indianapolis Colts 30-20 at Indianapolis. Actually, a little closer than I would have expected that one, just a 10-point loss. Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions. It looked like Josh Allen threw 2 interceptions. So between the 2 starting quarterbacks, they threw 5 interceptions in this game. So I bet that was just absolutely sloppy. Jonathan Taylor, your Wisconsin's finest, 21 carries, 114 yards, had a long of 58. James Cook for the Buffalo Bills had 19 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. Alec Pierce led the way for the Colts, 4 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. Josh Downs had 7 catches for 72 yards for the Colts. On the Buffalo Bills side, Mac Hollins, 4 catches for 86 yards. Khalil Shakir, 6 catches for 58 yards. And Dawson Knox, 2 catches for 40 yards. So as far as defensively, maybe what the Bills did, obviously, they got 3 interceptions, but they also, looks like they sacked the quarterback, 4 times? So Greg Rousseau got a sack. Taron Johnson got a sack. A.J. Epinesa got a sack. Quentin Jefferson also got a sack. So that's what happened there in Indianapolis as the Buffalo Bills beat the Colts 30-20. Next game, you had the Kansas City Chiefs squeaked one out against the Denver Broncos. I don't know if you guys seen that one or not. But the Broncos got well within field goal range, I think inside 40 yards, and the kick ended up getting blocked by the Chiefs. So they had the game-winning kick. So the Chiefs escape again. They are still undefeated, sitting at 9-0 now. Let's see what Patrick Mahomes did there. Some people are saying he's having a great year. Some are saying he's having a bad year. 28 of 42, 266 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 4 times. That's kind of rare when you see him getting sacked that much. But here's Bo Nix, another example. We told you what we just told you what Caleb Williams did against the Patriots, right? Absolute cheeks. You got Bo Nix going up against one of the better defenses in the Kansas City Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo. Bo Nix, 22 of 30, 215 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, protecting the football really well there for Sean Payton. Audric Estime, Notre Dame's finest, 14 carries for 53 yards, was their leading rusher. So they just kind of hung in there. Unfortunately, they couldn't pull out the dub. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries for 35 yards, so they shut their run down pretty well as well. But Kareem Hunt in the passing game, 7 catches for 65 yards. Travis Kelce Swift got 8 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown in that game. So again, Kansas City Chiefs escape with another victory there, 16-14. Back to the NFC, you had the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. I think the Falcons are still leading the NFC South, if I remember correctly. That was the case. Let's see. Yeah, 3 seeds, so they were leading the South. The New Orleans Saints come away with the win, 20-17 at home against the Falcons with their new coach. You guys know Dennis Allen got fired last week. Derek Carr said, I better sit up straight. I might be gone next. He went 16 of 25 for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Was not sacked all day. Kirk Cousins, 23 of 38, 306 yards passing, but no touchdowns. He did have 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times. Drake London continuing to play well. 8 catches for 97 yards. Bijan Robinson, man, I tell you, one of the bright spots for the Atlanta Falcons, that kid right there is one hell of a running back. 20 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns with a long of 37. And just to give you a quick update, we're watching the Detroit Lions Houston Texans game right now. Looks like Jared Goff just threw an interception on what might have been the opening drive. 12:55 left in the first quarter. We'll keep an eye on that as we move along here in the show. So, again, look at this. Somebody come look at this. MVS. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. 3 catches, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Can somebody tell me what the hell's going on here? MVS just had 3 catches for 109 yards and a couple touchdowns. That is just absolutely wild to think about. So, 2-0 for this confirms Jared Goff was just picked off. Yes, sir. And Prince in the chat. Looks like the Texans have got healthy on defense. Cool unis tonight, too. Just picked off Goff. The helmets are sick. No doubt about it. 2-0 for this. MVS is always due for a game like that. One game like that per year, I think is what he's saying. I thought you were going to say he's never had a game like that, so he was definitely due. I completely agree if that was the case. So, again, the Saints beat the Falcons 20-17. We were pulling for who were we pulling for in that game? Did we even have it listed? I don't think we had it listed. No, we didn't even have it listed. We didn't really care either way in that one. Just want those 2 teams kind of beat each other up, right? Let's see what else we got. San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game here, we were hoping that Tampa would pull this out to drop the Niners down to 4-5. Instead, they improved to 5-4. They win 23-20 in Tampa. And Brock Purdy was doing Brock Purdy things, man. I understand a lot of people don't think he's a good quarterback. I've said for 2 years now, the dude is so underrated. 25 of 36, 353 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He absorbed 3 sacks for 15 yards. Christian McCaffrey returned only 13 carries for only 39 yards. So they couldn't get the running game going at all. But, boy, did they get the passing game going. You had Jawan Jennings, 7 catches for 93 yards. Ricky Pearsall, 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 6 catches for 68 yards. And then you had Deebo Samuel, 5 catches for 62 yards. George Kittle, 3 catches for 57 yards. All right, as the 49ers get the win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You guys may or may not have seen it. If you go to Twitter, you can find it real easy. I don't want to pull it up for copyright purposes. Deebo Samuel was seen on the sideline grabbing the long snapper by the throat and then pushing the head, I think, of the kicker. So you've got some stuff going on out there in San Fran that it just feels like it's about to blow up. It really does. So there you go. That's what happened in Tampa today between the San Francisco 49ers as they improved to 5-4 and the Buccaneers dropped to 4-6. Let's move it along here. Next game, Steelers and the Commanders. Man, what a dandy this was too. You hated to see the way it ended. So basically, you get down to the end of the game. Let's see. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing here. Let me go down to the very final drive here. This was really interesting. So they got down towards the end of the game, and it was a 4th and 1 at Washington's 49-yard line. And I've studied Bill Belichick so much that these moments like this really pop out to me when you're talking about being situationally aware. So basically, they were going to have to punt, right? And Pittsburgh comes out like they're going to go for it on 4th down. And they line up and they kind of get under center. What they're trying to do in this situation is draw the Washington Commanders offside. They want that first down. If they get them to encroach, automatic first down into the ballgame, right? It's exactly what happened. Russell Wilson came out, gave him a hard count. Defensive tackle jumps, ball game over. I don't think they were going to snap that ball, they being the Steelers. I think they were just going to, a couple hard counts, take a 5-yard penalty, let their punter try to sky one inside the 5, inside the 10, pin them deep, and play it that way. But again, does Washington go down the field and score? It's possible. But nonetheless, Russell Wilson being a veteran, getting them to jump off sides seals that victory for the Steelers as they improved to 7-2, 28-27 over the Commanders, who dropped to 7-3 currently. Man, that NFC East there is really interesting at the top between the Eagles and the Commanders, no doubt. So there is your another NFC East matchup, or I'm sorry, NFC East teams update as we keep an eye on that. Now, let's see. We've got the Vikings and the Jaguars. Look at this snooze fest, guys. The Vikings beat the Jaguars 12-7. I repeat, the Vikings beat the Jaguars 12-7 in Jacksonville. Let's look at the box score and see what happened here. Sam Darnold, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He was 24 of 38 for 241 yards passing. Aaron Jones, 17 carries for 88 yards. I think Aaron Jones got hurt as well. If you guys would, in the chat, do me a favor. See if we can get an update. Did he leave the game? Did he stay into the game? It seemed like he took a shot in the rib underneath his left arm. Let me know in the chat if you guys know whether or not we got an update on Aaron Jones. We might actually, sometimes in the recap, they'll talk about it, right? Let's see if it says anything about Aaron Jones here on ESPN. Looks like a tough no. Punch the ball. Nope. Not seeing anything. Here we go. Vikings, let me try to highlight it for you guys. Vikings running back Aaron Jones left in the third quarter with a rib injury and later returned. Okay, so he did return. All right. So false alarm there. I was interested to see if that was something serious. But again, Sam Darnold, 3 interceptions. How the hell you throw 3 interceptions, no touchdowns, and still win the game is beyond me, other than the fact that you were playing a 2-8 team or a 2-7 team that's now 2-8. Nonetheless, counts. Vikings win 7-2 in this one. Again, Aaron Jones, 17 carries, 88 yards. Cam Akers, 13 carries for 38 yards. Mac Jones throwing 2 interceptions. That's how you win that game. The other quarterback throws 2 interceptions. So that's what happened there. Travis Etienne, 11 carries for 44 yards. Sound like they were trying to wing the ball all over the yard all day. Evan Ingram, 6 catches for 40 yards. Looks like TJ Hawkinson's heating up there for the Vikings, 8 catches for 72 yards on 9 targets. Josh Oliver, 4 catches for 52 yards. Justin Jefferson, 9 targets, only 5 catches for 48 yards. Felt like at least 2 picks, if I remember correctly. At least 1 pick, maybe 2. They were trying to force the ball to Justin Jefferson, and it kept getting picked off. So, Holmes MD1 says, Jones came back but had left on a cart. He's certainly not healthy. So something to keep our eye on there. Thank you for the update, Holmes. I didn't realize he left on a cart. And that does seem a little more serious than we might have thought in the beginning. All right. So there you go. Again, the Vikings squeak one out against the Jaguars 12-7 as they improve on the year to, once again, I think it's 7-2. Yeah, they've got 3-1 record away is what it said. Or I'm sorry, no, 3-1. Is that what is in the division? Am I thinking right? Is what that is, or maybe conference? Can't remember. Anyway, next game, Tennessee Titans at the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers win 27-17 there. Let's see, Justin Herbert, 14 of 18, 164 yards and a touchdown. It's funny. Jim Harbaugh takes over and they stop winging the ball around a yard, right? It's more about controlling the clock, running the football, being efficient. Gus Edwards, 10 carries for 55 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 15 carries for 50 yards. Justin Herbert ran the ball 9 times for 32 yards, looking a lot more mobile today on the highlights I've seen. Lab McConkey, 2 catches for 52 yards. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he was a wide receiver that came out of Georgia this year. Let's see if we can find him. Yeah, I had him as the 4th best wide receiver in this draft. I had Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors all in the same tier or right at it. Actually, Marvin Harrison Jr. was a tier higher than Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors, who were in the same tier. And then it drops off a few tiers, and then Lab McConkey was the 4th best wide receiver on my draft board this year. So there you go. And Eric Sutherland with the update says the Texans take the lead. That's great news there. We want them to obviously try to upend the Lions any way they can here this evening. So, again, let's see what else. Lab McConkey, we talked about him. As far as the Titans, Will Levis, a little bit better day, right? 18 of 23, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 7 times. Woo! Calvin Ridley, 5 catches for 84 yards, but it took 9 targets to get him to that point, so that's pretty rough. Let's see if we had any sacks here. Joey Bosa got a sack for the Chargers. Tuli Pelotu, hope I'm saying that right. 2 sacks for him there with the Chargers. Bud Dupree, former Kentucky Wildcat. Look at that. I didn't know he was still in the league. 2 sacks there. So they got after the quarterback, obviously, with 7 sacks there on Will Levis as the Chargers improved win 27-17. They improved to 6-3, and the Titans fall to 2-7. They're definitely in the running for the number 1 overall pick. Eagles, Cowboys, we already talked about. The Eagles boat raced the Cowboys 34-6. And the New York Jets let us down today. I was excited about rooting for the senior citizen version of the Green Bay Packers, right? Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, all those former Packers over there playing together. And I was really hoping they could knock off the Cardinals because that would help the Packers in the NFC side of things. But, man, they got absolutely dog-walked. 31-6. This is probably the end of Aaron Rodgers, guys. Feel real comfortable saying that. I don't see a situation or a scenario where he comes back next year and plays because he was still kind of up in the air this year. Man, that's ugly. 22 of 35 for 151 yards. He was sacked 3 times. Breece Hall had 10 carries for 52 yards. Garrett Wilson targeted 6 times, 5 catches for 41. Now, Aaron was spreading it around. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different receivers that caught passes today. Garrett Wilson had 5 for 41. Breece Hall, 4 for 31. Devontae Adams, 6 catches, only 31 yards. This is probably the end of Devontae, too. Look at the targets. Oh, my gosh. If I can highlight this for y'all or not, I guess it won't let me. It's going to get wonky. Devontae Adams was targeted 13 times, and he only had 6 catches for 31 yards. Yeah, that's how you lose a ball game right there. That is unbelievable. So, man. Holmes MD1 in the chat says Dallas has never recovered from last season's ass kicking in the playoffs the Packers gave him. He's talking about. It's a burn barrel. It really is, man. I'm just waiting for the day that Jared Jones goes off and runs Mike McCarthy out of town. You guys know I like Mike a lot. A lot of things went wrong down there. I remember the offseason. You guys remember going into training camp, how Dallas was catching absolute hell because Jerry Jones didn't do anything to improve the team. And on his mind, it was, I got to pay Dak, I got to pay CD, I got to pay Micah Parsons. So it's like, we're not going to go get anybody else. When you got multiple players like that or that are up for contract, there's a thing that can set in called the disease of me, something that Pat Riley talked about a lot back in the day, old basketball coach. That's a real thing there. It happened with the Giants. You guys remember 2 years ago, the New York Giants made the playoffs, and Michael Lombardi started talking about these players play good and they want to get paid like they're great. And he talked about the disease of me may set in, and Giants fans roasted. Oh, you know what the hell you're talking about. It has been a train wreck for the Giants ever since. Kind of feels like you got a little bit of that going on with the Cowboys. But the Jets, on the other hand, is just there's no continuity. You know what I'm saying? Like if you watch the Jets play, you don't come away going, oh, yeah, they suck, but I see what they're trying to do. It's just play to play. It's just go out there and wing it. Aaron's going to do a little pre-snap read. Where's Devontae? Before it was pre-snap read. Where's Lazard? Call me crazy, but it seemed like Lazard was having a little bit more success than Devontae's having right now. Now, it might take a little time for him to heat up, but you're running out of time, man. You're 3-7. I mean, you got to win out to have a shot, right? It ain't going to happen. I bet their chances of making the playoffs probably less than 10%, right? Maybe less than 5%. So, here Eric Sutherland says the Jets D was supposed to be great. They stink, and they ran Saleh out of the building, right? And again, I don't think Saleh's a great head coach. I don't think he's even a good head coach. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. So I didn't necessarily disagree with them firing him. It's like, man, it's obviously not working. But boy, that defense has gotten worse since Saleh was fired. So I'm expecting that to start to unravel here really, really soon. But again, the Arizona Cardinals absolutely boat raced the New York Jets 31-6. I do want to mention Kyler Murray's playing some pretty damn good football, y'all. 22 of 24. He only had 2 incompletions on the day. Only 2. 266 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He was only sacked once for 7-yard loss. He had 3 carries for 21 yards, and he had 2 touchdown runs as well. So Kyler Murray really had a good game. James Conner, only 12 carries for 33 yards, but he had a touchdown. And then in the passing game, 5 receptions for 80 yards. Caught all 5 of his targets, James Conner did, coming out of the backfield. So looks like Houston is still leading 7-0 in the first quarter, and they're getting the ball back right now. So we'll keep you guys posted on that as we move forward here. All right, 2-0 for this. I aspire to have Hackett's job security as long as Rodgers is there. Boy, that is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? 2-0 for this. That's can't screw that. Sounds like a government job, don't it? Like you can't screw it up. You can't. Let's see here. Holmes in the chat. Murray looked lost against us. Shrug emoji. It's a good point. He did, didn't he? I'm telling you, man, what Hafley's doing, if everyone can put the box scores down, as I've got a box score on the screen, that's freaking hilarious. If everybody can put the box scores down for a second and go, what are they trying to accomplish as a defense in Green Bay? You could see it all over the tape, exactly how they're playing these teams. And people think just because a quarterback isn't mobile, okay, now we can just go rush him. No, you've seen it with Sam Darnold picking up a couple crucial first down scrambling. Like you got to keep them within the well. Make sure that your pass rush is where the weak spots are in your zone defense. We're running predominantly zone defense a good portion of the time. Matter of fact, I think I got the graphic here. Let's see here. Here we go. So the Packers are running zone defense. They're running cover 3 31% of the time. They're running cover 2 19% of the time. So that'd be what? 49, that'd be 50%. Cover 4 zone 11% of the time. That's 61%. And then cover 6, 12% of the time. So that's 73% of the snaps on defense we're playing zone. And when you're playing zone coverage, depending on what their pre-snap alignment is, are they in a 3-by-1? Are they in a 2-by-2? You know what their favorite passing concepts are out of each of those looks. You probably got it narrowed down to maybe 3 or 4 different passing concepts, meaning route combinations, how you're going to attack the space on the field. You want to try to take that space away, and wherever the weak spots are in that coverage, you want to make sure you got the throwing lane clogged up on the other side. It's a way that you can lock down the entire field if everybody executes, and that's a big if. You can lock down every spot on the field playing a zone defense by taking one portion away over the top. When I mean over the top, I'm talking about five yards down the field and further. And you can also take a portion of the field away in the passing game by simply taking away throwing lanes at the line of scrimmage. And that's what you're seeing with Jeff Hafley's pass rush design. When he tells those guys to go, you see them go. We showed it, I think it was in the last game against the Lions when Gary got his sack. Both edges turned it loose. And people look at that, if they don't know what they're looking for, they look at that and go, why don't they do that every snap? Because not every play call is designed like that. There's some play calls that okay, we're going to lock down the middle of the field. We just want to keep him contained. We want him to have to throw from within the well and try to push the ball down the middle of the field right into the teeth of the defense. It's not a coincidence that our pressures and our sacks went down, but our turnovers, our takeaways have skyrocketed through the roof. And that's what you're talking about with playing with a united outlook, I guess you could say. Like your defense, what's the word I'm looking for? You're unified. You understand you're playing complementary to the coverage with the pass rush. And that doesn't mean just getting pressure on the quarterback. So I don't know if all that makes sense, but I say that because you can see what we're doing on defense. You can see what LaFleur's doing on offense as well and how he's setting things up to attack, right? You haven't seen a whole lot of pulling guards this year. Matt LaFleur has attacked it through zone and duo runs for the most part, right? A little bit of counter too, going like a tray left and going counter right with Emmanuel Wilson. He's had a little bit of success there as well. The New York Jets, you just can't figure out what they're trying to do. It just seems very sporadic. As Bill Belichick talks about the Jets, he talks about Woody Johnson specifically, the owner. Woody Johnson doesn't say ready, aim, fire. He approaches it ready, fire, aim. Like, hey, let's just go out there and spray, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do later. I'm telling you, the guy, he doesn't have a clue. He does not have a clue, for sure. Eric Sutherland with the update. Tank Dell killing Detroit's secondary right now. Love it. Love to see it. All right, so that was the Jets, obviously dropping a stinker there to the Cardinals, 31-6. You guys know on Thursday night, the Ravens squeaked one out there against the Bengals, 35-34. So the Cardinals improved to 6-4. Jets dropped to 3-7. Now let's go to the live game here, and we'll get this box score pulled up. We'll get ready to wrap up here in a second, so you guys can go watch and finish watching the game. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would take a quick second, hit that like button. Feel free to sub to the channel. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here as the Packers are off this week. Another huge gain right there for the Houston Texans, and that was Joe Mixon. It looked like a explosive run. Matter of fact, let's just pull it up play by play here and see exactly how far it was. 36-yarder right here. Oh, so it was a pass short left. Yeah, nice little double swing. Threw a move on the backer. Nice block. Cuts it all the way back across the field. Joe Mixon with a huge game. Give you a little play by players there inside the 5. Little handoff up the middle. Mixon's tripped up at the line. We do have a penalty, and that is a hold on the Texans. So that's going to come back at least 5 yards, possibly 10 there. So probably already see it here on the screen. Yeah, 10 yards, 10-yard holding call. So looking at the box score, and I know it's early. We're only in the first quarter. Jared Goff, 2 of 5 for 16 yards and a pick. So Houston seen something on tape, and they're gonna give another blueprint for the next team that plays the Lions next week to continue to try to chip away at them. C.J. Stroud, 6 for 6, 83 yards. What a strong start there. Joe Mixon, 7 carries for only 6 yards, but he does have a touchdown. Joe Mixon had that 1 catch for 36 yards. Tank Dell is what Eric was talking about. 3 catches for 29 yards. Caught all 3 of his targets so far. So now it's first and goal from the 13-yard line for the Houston Texans. A little cheat motion right up the middle with Joe Mixon, and just about a 1-yard gain there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Everybody, go watch the game. Enjoy it. This was a lot of fun, though, man. We should probably do this a little more often. And just kind of go around the NFL on Sundays. Maybe we can do a Packers post-game show 1 hour, and then a second hour go around the league and kind of give everybody an update on scores, because I think this is a lot of fun. So there you go. Holmes says Packers also heated Stroud up. They did. They did. Matter of fact, I can give you a hint on a couple plays that might make chalk talk for the defense on Tuesday. Xavier McKinney sack, and Eric Wilson had a sack as well. So that's how they heated Houston up there. So, all right, that's it, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you hanging out this evening, as we just want to go around the league since the Packers weren't playing and just take a quick look and see, all right, what's going on around the NFL, who won, who didn't. So we got at least one game helped. The New England Patriots beating the Chicago Bears. We get to make fun of Bears fans all week and get ready to play them on Sunday. But also Obviously, Chicago is going to drop in the standings a little bit further there, and pretty much, I don't want to say they're out of the wild card race, but they're starting to sink out of sight. Right? 2 more losses, you could probably put a fork in them. They're done as far as the wild card goes. So I was going to see if they maybe had the standings here updated. I don't know if they do or not. We go NFL. Let me just see if they got the standings and see if they've got a wild card. They got a conference here. It looks like that's up to date. 6-3, 6-3. Chicago is now 4-5. Yeah, it's up to date. So let's do this. Let's just hit this real quick. The NFC standings as it sits right now. Lions are the 1 seed. The Eagles are the 2. The Vikings are the 5 seed. The Commanders are the 6th seed. The Packers are still the 7th seed. The Falcons are the 3rd seed. And the Cardinals are the 4th seed as it sits right now. So the Packers are currently the 7th seed as we get ready to go into next week's game, at least how it sits right now. Stroud was just sacked on a 3rd and goal. So it looks like they're going to try, I'd say, a mid-range field goal. We'll give you guys the update on this, and then we'll get out of here. But that's how your NFC standings look based off of everything that happened today. Mike Berry, great show, Clayton. Good night. Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for swinging through, buddy. Thanks for swinging through. Holmes says this show sucks. Good evening, good people. There you go. So let's see if they hit this field goal, and we'll get out of here real quick. I could pull the play-by-play up, but we don't want to ruin it, right? So your last call of the night. The Houston Texans drill the field goal through, so they got a 10-0 lead with 2:09 left in the first quarter over the Detroit Lions, as Prince says. Bang. There you go. All right, that's it. Thank you all for hanging out with us. If you would, like I said, hit that like button on your way out. Feel free to sub to the channel, share it, all that good stuff. We will be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Lambeau. I think Tim will be joining me, and then I think Emilio will be in here with us tomorrow night. We're going to do Chalk Talk. Tomorrow night is going to be Chalk Talk, and it's going to be the top offensive plays of the first half of the 2024 season. I had 24, and we got it narrowed down to 16. So I think we've got the biggest explosive plays. Got a lot of 50-yard passes in there. You got a lot of 30-yard runs. You got, many players represented. Jaden Reed's all over it. Josh Jacobs. You got 2 or 3 Malik Willis's in there. You got a Dobby in there. You got the Emmanuel Wilson screen pass in Tennessee. Tucker Kraft going off for 66 yards. There's a lot of fumbles in there. Christian Watson, 44-yard touchdown pass, on and on and on. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning and then tomorrow night for Chalk Talk. So as always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. If you're listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. I'm seriously, we say that every episode, and I'm going to continue to say it every episode. You are the lifeblood of what we do here. I know we're live on YouTube, and we include the YouTube viewers a lot into the show, but those of you on the pod, man, you're helping pay the bills to keep this thing going, and we don't take it lightly. So everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll see y'all tomorrow.